Hey, you know, I've been wanting to do this at this school for a long time, and I wanted to do this before the things that's happened in the last year in my life. It's something that I've always wanted to do, is to talk to younger people, and I've got the opportunity in the last year. I've got the opportunity to do that a lot. And I want to thank the school, and I want to thank the resource officer, and the principal, superintendent, and school board, and everybody that was able to get me in here and talk to you guys. Like I said, you guys, a lot of you guys will know me. Boone and Molly both go to school here, and they're my kids. They're not here right now because this is a hard thing for them, because a lot of the things that we're talking about their brother. And so they're not here. And I just want to warn you that a lot of the things I talk about and a lot of the things I do may not be an easy thing to hear. But I think it's very important that you hear it. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here. I don't do this for me. I don't get paid to do it. I don't go all over the country to do this for fame or fortune or anything else. I do this, and the only reason I do this is I don't want to know that some of the kids that are sitting in this room today have to go through some of the same things that I did, or my son did, or a lot of my friends. I was thinking back, and for over the last 25 or 30 years, I was trying to think of all the friends, and I'm not talking about acquaintances. If I went into acquaintances, I would be getting into probably the hundreds. But just the people that I knew, that I personally knew, that have died because of drugs, alcohol, suicide. And I was at about 40 when I quit counting. I went to school here at Jasper. I graduated in 1978. For you guys, if you want to know how long ago that was, I played basketball, and I never played in this gym. The gym that I played in is gone. It was the old gym that some of you guys may remember. Anybody know who that is? She's trying to find a picture. We kind of got this thing. It's kind of that right there. Can anybody recognize who that might be? That's me. But I had hair. And I was younger. I was in the 8th grade when that picture was taken, and so all of you guys that are in the 8th grade, that was me in the 8th grade. Look at me now, and that's what you got to look forward to. That guy in the 8th grade, I think that year I was voted class favorite. I don't know, I think you guys still have that. I was voted class favorite that year. Played basketball in the junior high team. Everything was going pretty good. You know, made decent grades. Everything was, you know, pretty happy, good things going on. This next picture, I was in the 10th grade. From my 8th grade year to my 10th grade year, I started smoking pot. I started drinking. Had experimented somewhat with some pretty much harder drugs. I played basketball. By the time I was a senior, the drugs got more important to me than basketball did, so I quit. See, sometimes we let things get more important in our life than what's really important. This guy here, he wasn't class favorite anymore. This guy here honestly didn't run around with too many people from the school, because there were some people that didn't want to hang around with me. When I went to the junior prom, I couldn't find nobody that would go out with me in the school at Jasper, because they all knew me well enough to know their parents wouldn't let them go. I dated this one girl one time that went to school here. I won't say who it was, but I went by her mom and dad when I wasn't old enough to drive. I was like 15, There's been a lot of things that went on, but by the time I was a senior, partying was more important than anything else in my life. My grades didn't matter, anything else didn't matter. I quit basketball and I started, that's all I did, that's all I did is I partied. When somewhere in my senior year, I decided that maybe I ought to quit. And maybe I ought to try to do a little bit better. I didn't, but I thought I'll join the service. And so when I graduated high school, I went into the Coast Guard. And you know, I had all these expectations that I was going to go in the service and everything was going to get so much better, and I was going to get out of the drugs and I was going to get out of all that stuff. Well, what I did is I went in the service, and when I went through boot camp, I came out, and when I went to my first duty station, it was in New York City. And I walked into my first room that I walked into when I got at my barracks in New York City, and there was more drugs there than I had ever seen in my life. So, needless to say, that wasn't the best thing that ever happened to me. I got right back out into the same thing. If they hadn't had drug testing in the service and in schools and stuff like that, in that part of my life, I'd have never made it through the service. I'd have never made it through any of that because there was no way that I could not do that. My first duty station was in Scotland. And I thought when I come from New York, and I thought, well, when I get to Scotland, I'll get over there and surely I can get out of drugs. There won't be any drugs in Scotland. I got over there, and one of the first guys I met was one of the biggest drug dealers in Europe. Had a house there. He went up there to hide, up there where I was at. He went there to hide, and then he went back and forth to Europe. During the next, I don't know, too many years that I can think of, there's not a drug that you can name that I haven't done. I did heroin. A lot of stuff I'm not proud of, folks. I'm not up here telling you this, that I'm telling you this. You guys may look at me and you may think, well, look at him. He looks pretty good. He looks like he may have got a smoking hot life here, you know, and everything, you know. He may look like that he's a success. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a success. My life is completely and totally, I'm half of what I could have been if I hadn't done what I did. Maybe a third of what I could have been if I hadn't done what I did. Heroin, acid, speed, you name it. Anything I could get my hands on, anytime I could get my hands on. I can tell you the last time I ever did any hard drugs was about 4 months before Molly was born. So I can say that I'm about 13 years clean. I'm not going to say that I haven't done things, but that was the last time I did any hard drugs. I'm not a success because over those years, I didn't go to college. Why did I not go to college? Because college wasn't important to me. Drugs was more important to me. I did learn a trade when I was in the service. But when I went to get out of the service, this is exactly what my CO told me. There was me and another guy standing here, and he said, this other guy was Tom Creighton. He was a good friend of mine, and he looked at me and he said, Denny, he said, Tom here has got a mind that's searching for answers. And he looked at me and he said, for you, he says, there's answers searching for a mind. And he was serious when he told me that, you know, and he just looked at me and he told me, he said, I don't understand how you can just absolutely not care about anything. Little did he know the reason I did care about something. I cared more about drugs than I did anything else. Now, how did I get started on all of that? I got started on it when I started smoking pot when I was this guy. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to tell you guys today, I'm not going to tell you that if you ever try drugs, you're automatically going to become an addict. I'm not going to tell you that because I don't know that. But I'm going to tell you that every addict that ever tried drugs tried them the first time. Well, we got 7 through 12 here everywhere. You can go to any medicine cabinet in this county probably, and you can probably find something that you can get high on. There'll be something in there People steal them from their mamas, they steal them from their grandmas are selling them, their mamas are selling them. I'm telling you, it's one of the worst things that I've ever seen in the way that it gets done. When I was getting high, most of the time, when I was into drugs and when I was doing this stuff, I had to have $100 in my pocket to get high. But now you don't have to have no money. You can have $5 and you can buy a pill that'll get you high, or 2, or whatever it takes. I did one of these things at Harrison, and the lady that went before me, she had all the Charlie Brown characters up behind, and she did a thing about personalities. And the thing that God made us, when God made us, He made us unique in this way, that we all do have different personalities. But in the time that we live in right now, be careful. Because if you're not careful, some doctor will try to give you a drug that will change your personality. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to tell you if you take drugs for anything and the doctor prescribed them to you, that I'm not telling you that's wrong, because I'm not a doctor. But I'm telling you this, there's lots of ways to deal with stuff, and it's not always drugs. But it seems like every time you go anywhere now that a doctor is trying to shove a drug down somebody and say, here, take this, it's going to make you feel better, and it will. And if prescription drugs were always taken the way it says on the bottle by the people that they were prescribed to, there probably wouldn't be a problem. I'm going to tell you right now, if it says take 1 on the bottle and you take 2, you're abusing drugs. If your name's not on that bottle and you take it, you're abusing drugs. I don't care if your mom gives it to you. I'm going to be serious with you. I don't care who gives it to you. If it's not yours and it's prescription, don't take it. This young lady that I was talking about, she had stuff that was prescribed to her that was fine. But as soon as she took that other thing, see, most of the people that are passing these things out, they're not doctors either. They don't know what you're taking. They don't know what's going on in your life. You can have a heart condition that nobody would know about. You at a young age right now, you can take one of these drugs, and you know what? It'll show up, and guess what your next thing's going to be? You're going to be in one of these black boxes. I've seen a lot of things in my life. I've lost some close friends. One of my best friends, 52 years old. They come to him and they asked him, they said, we can put you in a liver transplant if you want to. He's an alcoholic. He told me, he said, well, sure, I'd love to have a new liver, but I'll not quit drinking. He died at 52. I've seen things done to young girls because they got so high they didn't know what was going on. I have seen a lot of things, and I'm not proud of being a part of a lot of things. But you can be better than me. You don't have to live the same life I have. Don't look at me as a success. I'm going to tell you what I am. I'm 52 years old. I've worked for myself for the last 16 years, but my job's about done because the business is just going away. I have nothing to go back on because I was too stupid back when I was younger to go to college because drugs were more important to me. I don't have a lot of things that I can do because, guess what? The only thing I ever done when I was younger was drugs. I didn't know anything different. They will completely and totally take over your life. The only thing that ever made me a success, and I'm going to leave you with this today, I believe structure in your life is one of the most important things that you can do. And you guys know I'm a pastor, but I'm not going to preach to you, but I'm going to tell you something right now. You have counselors at this school that are good counselors. The teachers that you have here, they're good teachers. If you have some of the problems that I've been talking about, I'm sure that within confidentiality, you can talk to any one of these people and you can tell them what's going on in your life, and they will help you. See, I guarantee you they will try to help you, but the first thing you've got to do is try to help yourself. If you haven't ever done anything that I've been talking about today, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, keep it that way. There is nothing good that's going to come out of any. I don't care if it's drinking a beer. I don't care if it's smoking a joint. I don't care what it is. That first one is going to be where all your problems are going to start. It won't get better. I guarantee it. And I said, like I said, the school is a structured situation that you guys can go to. But I don't believe there's nothing better, you guys really, seriously. And I'm just going to say this, I don't think there's nothing better than finding a church that you can go to. I guarantee you that you find a church and people are going to love you in that church whether nobody else does in your life. And again, I'm going to close with that, but I want you guys to know you can always get a hold of me or Jeannie. Don't be afraid to get a hold of us. We'll help you any way we can. Promise you I'm not going to tell them. I'll never do that. But I'll do anything I can to help any one of you in any situation, all the way from the 7th graders all the way up to you seniors. I'll be here if you need me. I promise you that. I'm not going to burn out. I'm not going to quit on you if you don't quit on me.